Hello everybody, my name is Christian Aldo, and welcome to this edition of The Plastic General. In today's episode, I'm hanging out in beautiful Italy, in the Mediterranean. Good food, beautiful women, and really friendly elite Italian paratroopers. And look at the really cool uniform they gave me. So we're hanging out in a place along the coast called Anzio, and so I think we're probably pretty safe from any Allied invasions. But just in case they do decide to attack, we'll have fun. Let's go to war. Fire! Sound the alarm! Incoming aircraft! Arm the Bofors! What do you think? Do I look convincing? This is a real World War II naval talker's helmet. The reason why they made them really big like this is so that you can have all the listening earphones and the listening equipment all built inside. Anyway, in front of me here is one of my all-time favorite toys. This was released by Ideal in the late 60s. It was called the Anzio Invader, and it's a giant U.S. landing craft. It was designed big enough so that it could have tanks on it. They could, like land on the shores. And, but, like I said, it was an old 60s toy. So what I like to do, and by the way, this is what it looked like when it was first released in the 60s, right here. So now you can see why I removed all the silly little boy stuff and I put realistic, like Bofors cannons on there and a lot of realistic details and stuff. And a funny thing too, when it arrived from some guy that I bought this from some guy in South America. And I think my dad bought it for me for my birthday. He offered to get it for me. It arrived all smashed, shattered like a broken glass. And I was horrified, but I spent the entire night putting it all back together with super glue, and it looks nicer than ever. So let's take a closer look right here. Okay, so here is the look at the Anzio Invader. I got some original marks and Ideal figures on there on the back. This Bofors double anti-aircraft cannon, this came off of a monogram 132 scale kit of like the Duster tank. And those figures I made from various, like a little bit of multi-pose. And actually, look at this guy right here. He actually is wearing a talker helmet. He's a guy with a talker with binoculars, and he's wearing a life vest. And this guy over here with no shirt on, he's from the YMCA from Gay Pride. And then this guy here is from Toy Soldier Central, the guy covering his ears. And this is an original Marx figure. He's using one of those devices that sends signals, light signals. And this single Bofors here was from Italy. No, Italy. Yeah, Italy is from the Italy component set for their Elco torpedo boats. And also I mixed with some figures from 21st Century Toys, which were the Long Tom guys. And look at the nice shells on there. And we got another nice figure here. But look here. This is a 132 scale 3D printed Stuart tank that with the howitzer on there. I think it's called the M8 is what they call it. And it's great. Except when it arrives, you know, you got to take it off of the crazy 3D sprues and stuff. But it's fantastic. You could see the shatter marks here when it arrived. It was all broken. I don't have a mechanism to keep the front door up, but you know, it serves its purpose. It holds itself up. But I'll fix it one day. And I did a lot of things to it, like more components from the Italy component set, and just a lot of me just improvising around, like putting on those railings and putting on these railings and those. But there it is, man. So there you have it, the Anzio Invader. You could use it as a 132 vehicle. And by the way, it also fits Shermans in the front. I would definitely try to find one on eBay and build it up and make it awesome. It's by Ideal. It's vintage, but they're very much out there. If you look hard enough, there one is now. Okay, so for our very first offering, I present to you Mars 3D printed Italian elite paratroopers. And these are the kind of paratroopers that would have been defending Italy from Allied invaders and performing ambushes on the Allies. They were very elite troops, and these are amazingly sculpted, and Sergei did an incredible job. So let's take a close look at these. Pose number 1 of 8, of course, is looks like an Italian officer, and usually that's indicated by the binoculars, and he's wearing an Italian-style jump smock. And by the way, the Germans took over all those Italian camouflage smocks and stuff as the Italians were dropping out of the war, because I guess they were ready and available. And he's wearing and he's utilizing a Beretta submachine gun, and it's either a Type 1938 or a 1942. I can't tell. And he's wearing a black beret. There were a lot of elite Italian units wore black berets. So I decided to paint his beret black. That's pose number 1. Pose number 2. You have a guy throwing an Italian paratrooper throwing a grenade. He's using the Beretta submachine gun. But he has this interesting sort of ammunition vest. So the magazines, there would be 5 magazines would slide into the front vest, like I have. I'm wearing the same vest. Oh, and my vest has 2 sides. It has the front and the back. And this guy only has the one with the magazines in the front. And of course, they're wearing like desert style or tan style pants. And he's wearing a unique an Italian paratrooper helmet with a helmet cover, which that's what I have. That's what they issued me to wear. So that's pose number 2. Pose number 3. Another paratrooper also firing a Beretta submachine gun, and he's wearing the ammunition vest along with ammunition pouches. And look, when you turn them around, just like I have, you have the ammunition magazine pouches on the back also. And another man wearing a black beret. How cool. He looks great. Sharp look. That's pose number 3. Pose number 4. You have another paratrooper, of course, wearing a camouflage smock of a shorter variant. And he's utilizing a short Carcano. The Carcano rifles, the same ones that Lee Harvey Oswald supposedly used to shoot JFK. Not a very good rifle, famously. Now, this little contentious here. I'm not quite sure if the tip of my gun barrel's missing. Not sure about that. He's also wearing an Italian paratrooper helmet, but there is no canvas on the helmet, so the helmet would have been painted. So that's pose number 4. Okay, pose number 5 features an Italian paratrooper wearing a shorter style camouflage smock. And of course, he has the ammo vest front and back. And he's utilizing a German Panzerfaust. And on his head, he has the regular Italian Type 1933 style helmet with webbing on it, with netting on it. And on his back, he has it looks to me like a Beretta submachine gun. It's a cool pose. I myself would have saved this pose for set number 2, but cool pose nonetheless. Pose number 6. It's one of the best poses in the set. Italian paratrooper, of course. I don't even need to be saying that anymore. He's wearing the long style smock with the Italian paratrooper helmet with canvas on the helmet. And he's firing a Beretta 6.5 millimeter machine gun. Supposedly, and there's the magazine on the side here. And those are magazine holders there. And you could swap out the barrel, and it was had a bipod. It's a really good figure. Really, really well designed, very realistic. What a great figure. I can't wait to put him into battle. And that's figure number 6. Here's figure number 7. He's kneeling, aiming, and he's wearing a field visored soft cap, the type that that Italian Paratroopers also wore. He's using he's wearing a camouflage jacket, and he's firing a regular Carcano rifle. But on the back, it seems to me that he's the unofficial counterpart to the prone machine gunner, because those are spare barrels for the machine gun. So I guess when the machine gun gets too hot, when it heats up too much, they could swap out those barrels, and he's probably carrying a lot of the ammunition and supplies for that machine gun. That was a really cool pose. And finally, pose number 8. It's a Italian paratrooper firing a Carcano rifle, standing, and he's sharpshooting, obviously. He's wearing a camouflage smock, short style, and something, a strange choice, not one I would have done, but, you know, Sergei can do what he wants. He decided to loan him an Italian paratrooper helmet. I guess there was a lot of swapping between the two armies of supplies and gear and weapons. And, you know, I would have preferred to have had a nice Italian paratrooper helmet on him with camouflage on top. But that's okay. It's a great figure, and I really hope that Mars does a set number 2. So that's the 8th and final pose. So here they are. The gang's all here. All 8 poses of Mars elite Italian paratroopers. And of course, they're 3D printed, and it's one of their newest offerings. You can have them printed up in either 132 proper or in the more popular, what they call big 132, which is actually 1/30th scale. So they'll match your plastic platoon perfectly, and they do, and they're fantastic. So I definitely recommend them. It's one of the most attractive sets that Mars has ever done, and I really hope they come out with a second set, because they're just so exciting. They're so adventurous. So, do I recommend them? Yes! The Plastic General recommends this set highly. Isn't it obvious why you need the Forces of Valor 132 scale ambulance? It's what else are you gonna do with all these wounded guys? You got to get them to the medical hospital. Anyways, it's a very straightforward ambulance. The back opens up, but you know, I found that my hinges on the left door fell open. Look, it would fall off, but I can figure out how to fix it. The inside is very minimal. you know, like the benches come up and down, there's a loose stretcher. I would have designed it so that the top pops off so that you can access it, but it's made of metal, so I'm not gonna bother customizing it. Also, the front door opens to reveal a driver, which you have to open it up to pop them out. But I prefer to have them out and put them back in as I feel fit. But you know, this is where they failed, with a little bit of imagination. They came out with these two figures. It was a medic and a wounded paratrooper. And that would have been great to included that in this set. But they didn't. They also could have included maybe a stretcher team. That would have been great. A guy on a gurney or like on a stretcher with two stretcher bearers. That would have made it better. And it would have made it, you know, just more value to it. So maybe that's something that Waltersons should consider for the future. But in the meantime, it's a great vehicle. Besides, I have so many wounded men, I need to ship them out with one ambulance. So, get it! This man is dead. But I'll tell you what's very much alive. 3D Jason from eBay has created an incredible set of U.S. military hospital figures with like surgeon figures and soldiers being operated on. It's the greatest set in the world. Robert is an incredible 3D renderer. And let's take a look right here. Guys, this set is so epic. I don't even know where to start, so let's just start from the beginning of a battle. So you have a wounded GI lying on the ground, and then you'll have like two medical personnel sort of like taking care of him, like looking at him, like, you know, touching him, appropriately touching him. There you go. That's pose 1, 2, and 3. Fantastic. Pose number 4, a guy lying down. Obviously, he's been wounded on the back, and he's being taken care of by another medic. So, you know, would go something like this. This guy would be over here looking, touching his back, saying, "Oh, you have back knee." Okay, now you have 5 more fantastic poses. You have 2 guys holding a stretcher. Some poor guy who's injured really bad. And this is the 3rd figure, and he's also sort of like helping carry the stretcher. And then, so that's what he's doing, like that. And then you have this guy pointing to the obvious. The ambulance doors are this way. These figures are great with the U.S. Forces of Valor ambulance. That brings us to 10 poses so far. Now check out this. This next batch of 5. You got a wheelchair. And what do you get with a wheelchair? A guy. A guy that you plunk into the wheelchair. Obviously, you know, he was doing one-hand push-ups and snapped his arm. He was arm wrestling. And then he hurt himself while line dancing or something. And then, look at this. Then you have the sexy nurse, Sandy, to push his wheelchair. And where are they going? We don't know until this orderly, again, Rosie the Riveter is back. And she goes this way to the cafeteria to eat a Spam. And then, finally, then the last ones you have this guy here. He hurt his leg while dancing the huckabuck, and this nurse will help him out with that later on with a private massage. Look at that. And so they're all sort of on their way. What an amazing set. The next 5 poses are absolutely incredible. You have a guy lying on the operating table. I chose to make him bloody. Some like their figures bloody. I like them bloody. They're more dramatic. And so he's lying there waiting to be operated. Actually, he's being operated upon. And of course, I have 2 surgeons deep in the act, while they're operating. Small talk. Yeah, I was with Jill last night. Nurse Jill. Oh, I was with Jill. She gave me a case of VD. Oh, we're losing our patient. Pay attention. So these guys are working on him. The one guy's got a scalpel. Look, he's got a scalpel. Okay, so he's cutting him open. Then this guy's going, I don't know about you guys, but I need to take a coffee break and I'll have a cigarette. And so he's taking a break there. But look at this one. Oh, here's Nurse Jill. She kind of looks like Rosie the Riveter, but look what she's holding. She's holding like the scalpels and the operating utensils. Absolutely fantastic. Robert, you are a genius. I love it. And for the last 4 figures, it's kind of like they were preparing to operate. And of course, Robert very wisely has the figures separated from the elevating beds. So he's waiting to be operated upon. And this guy's reading off, well, he hasn't paid his hospital bill, so we'll just give him a shot of penicillin. And then this one here, look at this Nurse Ratchet over here. In her hands, you can see she's holding a syringe. So she's shooting this guy up with some morphine. And then this final doctor is saying, I don't get paid enough, but I like the color of my gloves. So he's operating, he's touching his head. But I was a hairdresser before the war. Anyway, there you go. That is 5, 10, 15, 20, 24 figures. Look at this incredible ensemble. I'm telling you, if I would have had these figures as a kid, they would have inspired me so much. Today, I would be the Surgeon General. I get excited when I see these. This set is going to force you to buy the Forces of Valor, Ambulance, and by the way, Mars is also coming out with U.S. medical team, and they're more like medics picking up U.S. soldiers that are wounded. But that's a great way to expand this set. So this set is by 3D Jason on eBay, and you can have them printed in 1/32 proper, like I did here, or 1/30th scale, so they'll go well with your plastic platoon and toy soldiers of San Diego, etc. Do I recommend this set? Yes, I do, 1,000,000%. You will see them in action coming up right now. Don't listen to any of this baloney about Italy being the soft underbelly. It is anything but. Churchill can tell him where to go. Anyways, that pretty much wraps up today's episode. This was 2 months in the making, and look what it did to me. So please don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe! We need it! We need reinforcements. Look what happened today. Subscribe, press the like button, which takes 1 second. Leave a comment. If you saw something, say it. And if you saw historical inaccuracy, I want to hear about it. And if you want to support the channel, I think you can press the Patreon button or something, I don't know. But, it takes a lot to make these episodes. What else? Next episode is going to be about Soviet paratroopers, both produced by Plastic Platoon and Toy Soldier Central. That's going to be an exciting one. They'll be fighting some good old Waffen SS. And, I think that's about it. So anyways, long live 132 World War II. Till next time. Hey Doc, you got any pain relievers, like an aspirin? Maybe some Oxycontin? Maybe anything just
For the girl who weds a soldier is the girl who adores a parade. She becomes herself a soldier. She's a part of the grand cavalcade.